Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. For today's video, we're going to be checking in for week 2 of March. We're going to take a look at everything I spent. I filled in an expense tracker already for the week. No, this is last week. Here it is. Already filled this in with you all in a separate video, so if I remember, I will link that video below. It was yesterday's video if you're watching this the day that it's posted. This was all of my overspending for the week. I'm going to use this information to fill in my hybrid budget and get a feel for how March is going so far. We're not quite halfway through yet. March is a long month and we've done a lot of spending, so ooh, it'll be interesting to see if I can really stick to my budget this month or not. I'm really gonna have to get a grip on the spending for the rest of the month if we're gonna make it. So if you're not familiar with me, hi, I'm Jessie. I post budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every week. I've been sharing budgeting videos here on my channel for many years now. I have been on a debt-free journey for a long time. I've had my ups and my downs for sure, and I've shared a lot of it with you. So if budgeting content is your jam and you haven't yet subscribed, I encourage you to click the red subscribe button. I'd love to have you back. Also, if you like what you see in terms of the worksheets that I'm using and you'd like to get a copy of your very own, you can join my channel membership. Down below this video, there should be a little join button that you can click and it'll take you to all the information for my membership. The tiers that have budget in the title, my budget buddies and my budget besties, are the ones that get access to the printable worksheets. So if you would like to be able to print out worksheets just like the ones I'm using, I post a new pattern and theme every month, including both of those tiers include this hybrid budget worksheet, this 2-page spread here. This is like the bread and butter of my budget. It helps me keep track of everything monthly and helps me check in every week. There's a place here for sinking funds and savings and debt payments. If you're a budget minimalist, you could do your whole budget for the month on this one 2-page spread. So yeah, join my membership if you're interested. For now though, let's go ahead and start checking in for week 2. So for me, the second week of March includes March 5th through the 11th. Just the way the weeks fell for me. The first couple of days in February started out my March budget. So even though it's only the 5th, that began week 2 for me. I budget Tuesday to Monday because we get paid on Tuesdays. And that's what works for me. I always say that personal finance is personal. Do what works best for you. You don't have to do things the way that I do them. You just got to find what works for you. So this little section here, the weekly section, is where I keep track of my variable spending. I have budget line items here in my monthly budget for these variable categories: groceries, eating out, spending, that sort of thing. And I have my monthly budget, but if I don't check in with that weekly, I will spend that whole budget in the first couple of weeks of the month and then be broke. So I like to check in weekly, get a feel for what I've spent, what I have remaining in that budget, and that just helps me kind of plan accordingly for the next week. Does that make sense? I think it does. So that's the weekly section. And then, like I said, over here in this monthly section is my monthly budget. Some things we spend week to week, like our variable spending. Other things come out just once a month, like bills. And that's where we're going to start first, because if you look at this expense tracker, you can see we had quite a few bills come out. Those are the ones in this bright blue color. So we had our golf cart come out at $150. And you can see here, my golf cart, I did budget $150. So that is good. We always love it when the actual column is the same or less than our budgeted amount. Next up, we have Michigan gas, which was $55, which is right here. And yes, we stuck to that budget as well. We had DTE for $212.11. I budgeted $220, so under budget there, which is nice. I knew though when I wrote my budget that that was kind of rounding up. Our budget, or our bill rather, every month is $212.11. We're on a budget billing plan, but I like nice round numbers when I'm budgeting, so I always tend to round up. That gives me a little bit of wiggle room in my budget in case something comes in more than I expected, and then also just makes the math a little bit easier. Okay, I am back. You may not have even noticed I was gone. However, my camera battery died. I had to shift things around a little bit, so if the angle's different, that would be why. I'm certain the zoom is different because I hadn't zoomed in. I'm filming this video and the previous video, my expense tracking video, back to back, and I've been a total scatterbrain for both, so I apologize. But we're just gonna keep going because that's all you can do. So we're filling in my bills. So we did golf cart, Michigan Gas, DTE. Next up is car insurance. Car insurance came out this week at $504.81, and I budgeted $505. So good news there. And then lastly, we had our camper payment come out, and that was $200. Excuse me. Which was just what we budgeted. All right. So there we have it. Those are all the bills that came out this week. Am I lying to you? No, that's accurate. Okay. So that's the bills. Now let's talk about the variable spending. So the categories I track on a weekly basis are grocery, eating out, spending, and auto pay. So, once again, referencing my handy dandy expense tracker, for groceries this week, we spent $334.03. How much do you spend on groceries every week, and where do you live? What's your family size? I know all of those things play into grocery budgets. I try to keep my grocery spending at around $300 a week. Last 2 weeks in a row, I've gone over that, so I need to make some changes for sure. We just eat a lot of food, I guess, with two practically adult boys. Our oldest son is 21. He is an adult. Our youngest son is 16 and an athlete, so he's absolutely just like scarfing everything down all the time. Yes, prices have gone up, but also we've had a lot of lifestyle creep in the last year, and I need to get this under control. Okay, eating out. We're just going to fill in the spent category, and then we'll go back and kind of work up what's remaining in each category. Is that okay with you? All right. So for eating out, we spent $224.26. We had some special occasion things this week come up that I was not anticipating, but very much enjoyed. So we had a higher eating out week this week. For spending, $74.16. And then for auto pay, which is just a line item in my budget, that is sort of a catch-all for all of the little subscriptions and bills, you know, $20 here, $5 there. Rather than listing them all out here and taking up this whole monthly section, I lump them all together into one category, which I title auto pay because all of those things come out of my account automatically. I don't even have to think about them. And this week, $47.93 was pulled out of my account in auto pay. Okay, so that is it for what we spent. We'll really quickly get a total on what we spent, and then we'll talk about what is remaining. So $334.03, $224.26 plus $74.16 plus $47.93. We spent $680 with 38 cents in variable spending this week. Okay, So let's talk about the remaining balances then for each category. For groceries, we started out the month at $1,600. Last week we spent $365.83, which left us $1,234.17. So I'm going to take that $1,234.17. I'm going to subtract what we spent this week, $334.03. That leaves us with $900 with 14 cents remaining. Now, March is a 5-week month for us because of the way that our paychecks fell. We've got to get through 5 full weeks. So if I take that $900 with 14 cents and divide it by the 3 weeks that are left, weeks 3, 4, and 5, we have $300 each week remaining, which is about what I aim to spend. So as long as we don't go over that $300 in the next of each of the 3 weeks, we'll come in under budget for groceries. But if the past is any indication here, we've had 2 weeks in a row where I have gone over that, so I need to be diligent to stick to my budget. And really, I should have less than that when I wrote my budget. For whatever reason, my brain decided that, you know, $300 times 5 weeks was $1,600 instead of $1,500. So I went with it. I didn't realize it at the time, but after the fact, I kind of realized it and I just went with it because it was already done. But that's the reason why us overspending these couple of weeks didn't kind of impact us as much, because I gave us an extra $100 because I suck at math. All right, eating out. Our eating out budget for the month is $500. Last week we spent $100 with 39 cents, so we had $399.61 remaining. Of that $399.61, we spent $224.26. Yikes, that's a big chunk. So that leaves us with $175 with 35 cents remaining. And that's gotta last us 3 weeks. So that means we can only spend $58.45 or less each week. And that, of course, is if we break it down by week. If we skip eating out 1 week, then we can spend more the subsequent weeks, right? But that's just like on average, we gotta spend about 60 bucks or less each week in order to stick to our budget. That's gonna be tough for us. We eat out a lot. Something for me to keep in mind moving forward. All right, our spending category, we started the month with $600 in our budget. Last week, we spent a ton. We spent $327.58. So a big old chunk of that came out last week. And that left us with $272.42. And we spent $74.16 of that, which means that we have $198.26. And again, we'll just divide that by 3. So about $66 a week. I think we can do that. I hope we can do that. I really don't want to go over budget in March. We did really great in February and came in way under budget after we had an abysmal January where we came in way over budget. It's tougher with the longer months, right? So I'm really going to have to kind of manage my spending a lot in the next 3 weeks to stick to our budget, which, as I said, is high already. I think that our budgeted amounts in these categories are very generous. So the fact that I'm like struggling to stay within them tells me I've been spending too much. All right, and then we have auto pay. So our auto pay for the month, I gave us $250. Last week we spent $96.67, which left us with $153.33. We spent $47.93 of that this week, which leaves us with $105.40. A good portion of our auto pay subscriptions and stuff come out in the first couple of weeks of the month, so I don't anticipate this being a problem. We'll have to see how it goes. All right, so $900 with 14 cents plus $175.35 plus $198.26 plus $105.40 means that for our remaining variable categories overall, our remaining balance is $1,379.15. I like to get a total because I've explained this before. If you're not new here, you're tired of hearing this as well. I set myself with a specific line item budget for each item, and I try really hard to stick to that. But if I'm over budget in one category and under budget in another, and my variable spending is still under budget by the end of the month, I'm okay with it. So yes, I know that I only have, you know, $175.35 for eating out. But if we were to decide to go and eat out for $300 and we were over budget in eating out, but our spending came in significantly under budget and offset that, I would still be okay with that in the end. Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right, that's it for my budget check-in. Very short and sweet today, which is nice. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, will you please give it a thumbs up? That really helps out my channel a lot. Helps YouTube to know that this type of video is appealing, and it will therefore push it out to more people, which is always a good thing. I'd appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye, friends.